Andrea, our resident sports nutritionist, here to tell us a little bit about the benefits of being hydrated.
For athletes especially, it's very important and going to have a big impact on your performance. So we see that even with mild dehydration, meaning a loss of 2% of your body weight during exercise. So if you lose 2% of your body weight from fluid, then we see a decrease in mental and physical performance. So for an athlete, mental performance is important for skill, coordination, focus, and concentration. And then we also see a decrease in physical performance. So when you're dehydrated, it increases your heart rate, increases your body temperature, so everything you're doing feels a lot more difficult. Water typically is a great choice during exercise that's short and not too intense, maybe less than an hour. Water is enough to rehydrate you. But when we look into exercise that's very intense or endurance, like say a sport exercise, or a sport team, like maybe hockey or soccer, where there's short bouts of intense exercise, or they're out in the heat, or long distance endurance athletes, water isn't necessarily enough. That's when you might need to start taking in some sports drinks to replace not only fluid, but electrolytes and glucose and sugars as well. So we're going to be making a homemade sports drink. So it's really easy to make these at home. It's going to save you a lot of money, and you don't get a lot of additives in there. So how to do this is basically I have a 1/4 cup of hot water, so just microwave it about 30 seconds. And then we're going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
Okay, salt here, yep.
Yeah. So and then we just want to stir that up. So
get the rest of our salt in there.
Yep, so when we sweat, we lose electrolytes, one of the main ones being salt. So I'll just stir this up to try to dissolve it. And then we have a pitcher of 3.5 cups of water. So this is just cold water. So we have our salt, which is our electrolyte that we're going to be losing through sweat. Another electrolyte that we lose sometimes through sweat is potassium. So we're also going to add a 1/4 cup of orange juice. Now, sports drinks have your fluid, obviously. They have your sodium to give you electrolytes, but they also have sugars as well.
Okay.
So when you exercise a long amount of time, you're using up, for more than an hour and a half, you use up those sugars that are stored in your muscles, and you need to replace those. So that's why sports drinks often have different sugars in there.
For sure.
So to maximize the amount of your body's ability to use these sugars, we want to use multiple different types. So with orange juice, we have fructose, there's sucrose, and those are the 2 types of sugars in there. So we mix that into the water, and then we also have a 1/4 cup of sugar. So again, so we'll add that into the cup.
And the type of sugar makes a big difference, correct?
Yeah, so really just looking for a variety of types of sugars in a sports drink. So just maximizes your body's ability to use that sugar.
And the final ingredient?
The final ingredient is some lemon juice. So just to give it a little bit of flavor, it's giving it some vitamin C as well. So we're just going to stir that up. Okay, and then lastly, once we've dissolved the salt into the water, we're just going to mix that in here.
And I'll keep stirring for you.
Yep, so then just stir that up, and then you want to serve it cold, so obviously with ice cubes, so you can just pop it back in the fridge after. But it's just a really easy way to save money, and you can customize the flavor, so you can use different types of fruit juice, you could use lime, but it's a great way to make sure you're getting fluid, you're getting electrolytes and sugars to help you refuel and replenish after hard exercise.
Absolutely, and you're saying this is the best, you should have this after a workout, correct?
So you might do this during intense exercise, so the one that's prolonged, where you need to replace those sugars and you need to replace those electrolytes. You could also use it after exercise as well. So for some people who maybe don't have a big appetite after a workout to take in a recovery meal, then they could use a sports drink to get some of those carbs. You'd still want to get some protein. But again, this is really for people who need to replace those electrolytes, who are doing intense exercise. We often see a lot of times maybe kids, they don't necessarily need sports drinks. They even just giving them some fruit after a workout, like whole oranges or watermelon, that can be enough to hydrate them. But for a lot of people, these can, when you take them during exercise, it can really see an increase in benefit of their performance.
Well, it tastes delicious. Let's have you have a little sip here. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, Andrea.